Hey everybody, welcome to our Tuesday night Team Palace Zoom call. I am just thrilled because the first week of the month, we get to celebrate all the our new coaches and the people that have reached a new rank. And again, ranks are one of these extrinsic motivation or kind of a milestone that we reach. They mean nothing except that they are an indication of how many people we're serving. So it's real important to get that perspective because we can get kind of stressed out about reaching a rank or get so excited, and it's really about the people who we're serving. So tonight I'm gonna let's start. Dee, would you want to start? And we've got a new manager in the house, Vicki Black, and then we've also got Jen Daniels, a new coach. So why don't you go ahead and whichever one you want to start with.
Okay, sure. And we actually had one other, Linda Young is a new senior coach, but she is in Sicily right now, so she's not with us tonight. But Vicki Black, you had a new rank up this month to manager, and she was actually got closer to associate director than on the beginning stages of manager. So I'll let Susan unmute you, or you can unmute yourself, but maybe you can just share a little bit about, some actions and mindset and what it might led to your growth and what are you looking forward to?
So yeah, I would say one of the biggest things that changed for me as far as the mindset, I'm sorry my screen's so dark. I'm actually sitting in a parking lot because I just finished having coffee with a candidate. So I jumped in, got on my laptop so I could be on the call. But the biggest thing for me was when Dee and I first talked about it, I am very stressed and discouraged in my current job. And so I was looking at this very much, what do I got to do to be able to grow my business fast enough that I can quit my job? And I was making it all about me. And then I was basically just doubling my stress because not only was I having stress from my existing job, then I was having stress trying to grow this business. And just got to the point and kind of let it go and said, you know what, I'm just going to help however many people I can and do what I can do with this and keep doing my job. And when the time's right, it will just start coming. And then, then I'll make decisions. But really, it was just a big mindset change of it's more about helping people and who can I help. And then going back and consistent follow-up. Really what moved me from the senior coach to the manager level wasn't me finding a lot of new people as much as it was getting yeses out of people that I've been talking to for a couple months now. And realizing that them coming on now when the time was right for them versus if they would have come on 3 months ago when I thought the time was right for me, it's making so much more success in their journey because this is when they were ready. So that's probably the biggest mindset change that I have found that I would attribute that growth to. But I'm looking forward to continuing to helping more people and see where this goes. And still waiting. I'm still waiting to get my first health coach though, because I know I know I've got some good candidates. They're on program right now that one day will make great health coaches. And doing the same thing, just try not to push it on my timing, but leave it on theirs. So.
Oh, that's awesome, Vicki. And we have a great example on the line. And for those of you that are new, Julie Apple, Dee, really thought that Julie would make a wonderful coach. And Julie, how long did it take? You can hold up your fingers. How many years? 4 years. 4 years. Did she just keep, just inviting her and just, dripping? And so thank you, Vicki, for sharing that. That is a really huge shift. And I bet you're having much more fun with it now.
Oh, yes, definitely. Definitely.
So cool. I'm going to talk a little bit about that in a little while. All right. Dee, will you introduce us to Jen? Thank you, Vicki.
Yep, absolutely. I'm going to turn it over to Jen Daniels. She's our newest health coach on our team, joined about the middle of August, and actually just signed up her first client, so that's fun. I've known Jen for a long time, and Jen, just let me know, I think actually their boys were in kindergarten together. I think we were room moms together, like way back in the day.
Wow.
But anyway, we reconnected earlier this year, and Jen, just share a little bit about your journey and decision to become a coach, and what are you excited about?
I'm excited to be here. That's first. And I got to tell you, Dee, I think we look and feel better than we did, 16, 17 years ago when we were
Amen. Longer than that, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, my journey is it's a pretty interesting one. About 4 years ago, I was on a journey to reduce my stress. Sounds like it's a common theme on the call, just, with our current jobs. And that was my foray into thinking about my health above and beyond just yo-yoing with trying to lose weight or to try to get in better shape, and trying to kind of get control of my stress was the one trigger that seemed to hold tight with me. And that became a journey around exercise and cardio and strength. But it only got so far, and I kept seeing posts from Dee and another friend of ours, Vicki Feldman, and great stories. And I finally saw some of the results, and I saw what Dee looked like, and Vicki was doing. I said, well, if these ladies know what's going on, I'm gonna jump in. I didn't really understand this physiology behind it. I just knew they had a lot of success stories. So I jumped in, and it was really the final piece of a long journey that got me to the extra 20 pounds. So I am now significantly better, more healthier person than I was, 4 years ago. And I don't think I've been any healthier in my life, even when I was a varsity athlete. So that, my journey was started with Take Shape for Life back in November. Nothing like trying to get on the program when you're, right before Thanksgiving and Christmas. One help I had was I got braces. So that helped me think a little bit more about eating at the time. But 8 months later, it was in my DNA. I realized it wasn't a diet. It was the way I was living my life. And I think that was really what triggered that maybe I needed to be a coach, because I was living it. And people kept asking me over and over again, what did you do? Or what are you doing that's different than what you did before? So I think that's just the part that it's in my DNA. And then I saw results, but I didn't really understand the physiology behind it. So the reason I'm excited and the reason I'm a coach is, first and foremost, I want to learn. This has just been fascinating for me, that I've unlocked this secret that really isn't a secret, but it seems like it is. Everyone I tell everybody, I'm like, it's your fuel, it's your food. And just that conversation has changed. So I just want to be able to learn from the process. I am excited about all the training. I want to learn from my clients, eventual clients, and through their journeys, and then learn from you guys. And then finally, growing as a servant leader. It's part of what I do every day. My day job, I work for GE, and part of my vocation, I'm really involved with servant leadership here in Atlanta with a community that serves our kind of the local folks in need. So I just thought this was a great complement to all of that. And that's an area I really need to develop, is kind of that servant leadership. So this was a great marriage of all of that. So excited to be here, guys. Thanks for letting me share with you why I'm here.
Well, thank you, Jen. That's so cool. It's so fun to talk to you. And one of your whys, I remember when we had our introductory call, that you really wanted to help your mom. And that was something that you really felt strong, but you didn't know exactly how that would look or how that would happen. And I was really eager to see that. Who's your first client? Your mom. So
that took a lot of help with Dee. She's a very patient. Dee's very patient. More patient than I am, but I'm learning. That's what it's all about.
That's exactly right. Vicki just talked about that earlier. And speaking of moms being instrumental in their daughters' growth, where are you, Sandy Hughes? Would you introduce your new senior coach? And Robin, we got to hear a little bit from you last night, and we really appreciate you. Robin, I know your brother is ill, and so you are, as Vicki comes out in the parking lot, you may be at the hospital, and so we're really excited you're here with us. And Sandy is Nicole Ward's mom, and Nicole's really became a health coach to help her mom. So took on life from there, right? So Sandy, will you introduce Robin, please? Well, we cannot hear you, Sandy. I'm going to unmute Robin. You are not muted, Sandy, but.
Hi.
All right.
Yeah, I can't see Sandy. Is she on the screen?
Yep, she is here. She's on the screen. When you're on an iPad, you can't see everybody.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And Sandy, you're not muted, but we don't have your voice, your audio. So we'll go ahead and turn it over to Robin.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Hi, everybody. I'm so excited to meet you and get to know everybody. It's been a wonderful journey. I was able to get to senior coach, and majority is all my friends and family. My husband, my son, my 3 best friends. And I have several people that are not ready. My other son is one of them. He talked to me about it today, but he doesn't want me to push him. So I'm like, okay. I was so excited. I wanted to start, he's like, no, I'm not ready. So, okay, not ready. But yeah, it just feels beautiful. I totally know what you mean by unlocking the secret, because it's been a struggle my whole life. I had no idea that I was eating for fuel. I thought I was just eating because I like the taste of food. And I feel so much better. And I love the fact that I have to tell myself to eat often. And so, but I love the fact, and I wish I could do this full time. I have a full-time job as an insurance agent. And so this is my pleasure and joy that I get to throw in on top of my great job. So it was wonderful. I can't wait to become more involved.
Oh, thank you, Robin. That's so cool to hear, because that's one of the topics we're going to talk about around the mindset, is that, that you're having so much fun with it, and that, on top of, you're able to help people even though you have a full-time career. And so many of us, and Vicki too, made peace with that, around having this be our mission as opposed to having to do something. And so that's one of my, let me just share my screen. I have been doing a little bit of, had some things that I've been working on this week, and I wanted to share them with you guys because I'm having some success with it. One of the things that we, one of the things that we learn as in chapters 3 and 4 in Dr. A's Habits of Health is that we are creating something new. We're bringing into being something new, creating health versus solving a problem. And that's a great, chapters 3 and 4 really talk about that. And one of our mentors in Take Shape for Life, he was our keynote speaker last year at convention, and who I learn a lot from is Dave Blanchard. He wrote Today I Begin a New Life, and now The Observer's Chair. And he talks about being intentional creators. And there's certain things that come about when we talk about the creative process. It's messy, but there's an intrinsic motivation to create for that sake of creation. And so I wanted to share with you a couple of things that can get in our way. But it's really so cool because all of Jen and Vicki and Robin, all 3 have illustrated that creative process, that excitement. The flip side, and we'll get to that in a minute, is, so here is the secret of all change, is the focusing energy on not finding the old, but building something new. And I love that. Socrates said it a long time ago. And if we can keep our focus on building our business new, and then help our clients see that they're creating something new, it really helps shift that mindset. And so what we're trying to get to is a place of choice. When it comes down to it, we make a choice every day. Do we want, and I don't put the struggle in there, but Dr. A talks about, do I want to look good or do I want the pizza? And both choices are pretty, but it really comes down to which one matters most. And that's the kind of thing we want to teach our clients, is it's just a choice. And having our blood sugar balanced by our structured eating plan makes that choice possible. When our blood sugar is spiking, our insulins are up, eating is a drive, and we can't stop. So we don't have that choice. We are ruled by our cravings, our hunger, and that addictive survival mode. So let me see what I got here. So one of the things we learn is we don't create what we want by reacting to circumstances. So I love that all of y'all, each one of you has full-time careers and not just jobs that you check in, clock in, and clock out. It's full-time careers that you've invested yourselves in. So we don't react to circumstances. When we think we don't have enough time, that's one of our traps. Our clients don't have enough time to focus on themselves. It can be an excuse, because even when, and many coaches say this, when they quit their job finally and they have time to work on Take Shape for Life full time, they have to manage they still run out of time. So it's not about the external circumstances, as much as it might seem like it is. Problem solving, we can't fix something that's broken, we're creating something new. Avoiding, being extrinsically motivated, it's such a really hard thing, and I talk to clients about this all the time. We got to focus on the scale because it gives us information. We want to make sure they're getting results, but focusing on the scale is an extrinsic motivator that it will never sustain long-term success, because as we all know, when we reach a healthy weight, the scale doesn't move, or at least we hope it doesn't, and so that will not cease to motivate us. And so we've got to find an intrinsic motivation, what inside drives us, and it's who we want to become. Who we want to become. As clients, we want who do they want to become as a healthy person? Remind them of how they're healthy and what they do now, and how it's in alignment. And positive thinking, it doesn't have to do with thinking positively, because a lot of times when we think positively and rosy, rah, we go into fantasy. Most of us that are entrepreneurs have a very vivid imagination. And we can use that constructively, or we can use that to pull us into a fantasy land. And when things don't go the way we want, we tank into catastrophe and so we try and escape and avoid and try and pull a rug over our head and not deal with life. So it's a fine line, a fine balance, but positive thinking isn't it. If we think negatively and yet we eat every 2 to 3 hours, we're going to get results. If we think negatively, we don't think we can build this business, we don't think we can help a lot of people, and we probably talk to a number of people, a certain number of people, we're going to get clients. So we want to make sure that we stay connected to our motivation and what our primary drive is. And it is usually, so here is it's usually to serve people. It's usually some kind of desire to be the kind of person that we want to be in the world, engaging in life, connecting with people, and making a difference. Really, that something that we do impacts someone else. And everyone on the call tonight, brand new or has impacted a life. And that's pretty darn cool. So here's the obligation mode. We commit to something, woo-hoo. But what happens is when we feel obligated, we get tired. And then we're going to rebel. And I'm going to put our clients in this too. But, do I have to eat this? Can I just have, what are we rebelling from? I cheated. We wanted it. We want the results. And yet we fight ourselves because we've slipped into obligation. And we've got to really watch that, guard against that with our business and with our clients too. And I'm going to show you something, the practice that I've been doing this week that's really been helping. And then we quit, and then we feel guilty. And then those of you that are new will find that your clients will call you back. 6 months, a year, 2 years. But here's the thing, and most people that have been seasoned a long time will find it is very hard for them to begin again. If we can just keep them on one foot in front of the other, baby steps to do something to move forward. like Vicki said, if they're not ready, they're not ready. But it's very hard to go back. That's why we want to guard against the diet mentality. We can't change them, but we can certainly be aware of the process and help people through their journey. So this is the obligation cycle. This is from Dave Blanchard. And how are we gonna escape that? So we want to consider why we're doing something, and this is pretty cool. One thing that Dave Blanchard says around the obligation cycle, I'm going to just pretend this isn't up here, is you want to write this down. You want to, it's because sometimes we have to do certain things, right? We have to feed our family. We don't really have to, but we choose to, we get to, or we want to. So in other words, how can we bring it into a want to? Well, I want my kids to eat healthy because I know if I don't cook food, they're going to eat mac and cheese. And so I want them to eat healthy. And so that's what we look at. And with our businesses too, and Vicki, you did a beautiful job of, how did you pull that out of obligation? I don't like my job. That's problem solving. This job is going to fix it. And it became a job. And so you beautifully, shifted that mindset to wanting to, choosing to, and enjoying the process. Enjoy the journey. And that's what I always try and presence my clients to, like, well, how do you feel? Oh my gosh, great. The scale didn't move. I only lost a pound. How could that happen? And they're all beat up on themselves. Well, how do you feel? Oh my gosh, great. I got more. How's your energy? Oh, through the roof. And all of these things, how about cravings? Oh, no cravings, not hungry. Oh my gosh, what about clothes? Can fit in all my clothes. I feel like all of these things, and the scale didn't move much. And yet this is what they focus on, right? And we're the same way, okay? So, I'm not talking, but we can relate this to our business. So I want to, I choose to, I get to. If you want to write it on an index card, that's what Dave recommends. Write it on an index card and keep it in front of you. And whenever you hear the little rant, or whenever you're resistant, because we don't resist things we want to do. I mean, we just do it. We just, whatever it takes, Think about going on a vacation. I mean, you know how much work that is to pack? And you've been there before. You know how it's going to end, so you just not go, right? No, we go for the experience. And so if we can put that into our journey as coaches, the experience. Okay, so why? This is really important. What I'm finding with me, my own resistance to things, is when I'm resisting something, when something's hard for me and a struggle, if I ask why enough, underneath there about 4 or 5 letters, levels down, there is something that, for me, it's approval seeking. For me, it's wanting, people to like me or be approved of. That's my thing. For someone else, it might be, what was one? Yeah, approval is a big one because, her parents always were against, you wanted her to lose weight. She felt like a failure. And so she felt like, a failure. So here's the question you ask yourself. You ask somebody. So one of my clients today said, okay, I'm going to be clean. I'm not going to eat any sugar because she cheats. I'm not going to eat any sugar. I'm going to stick to the plan for 30 days and I'm going to lose 10 to 12 pounds. And we know that's a trap for success, so why does she want to do that? Well, so for what purpose? For what purpose is a great question to ask. Well, she went when she was at a lower, when she was on the program before, she was able to run and she'd never been able to do it. She has asthma. And it was this, without the sugar and being at a better weight, she could run. She didn't have asthma. That's great, right? I wish I could find her thing. That is great. Okay, so what for? We dug a little bit deeper. What is the purpose of her wanting to run? Will she get more accomplished? When she runs and she's active, she gets more accomplished. For what purpose? What does she want to accomplish something for? So it's not hanging over her. So that's a moving away from. Like, she doesn't want things hanging over her. And that's never going to propel us to move forward. That's good. There's her right there. And so she's got to clean that up. I'm not a, counselor. I'm not her I can't clean it up for her. But most of us know our stuff. And we can ask ourselves questions. What is that? And where have we heard that before? Usually it was implanted in us early younger. So if we can ask our clients, for what purpose? I say, will you do something with me? For what purpose? For what purpose? For what purpose? And I'll share with you next week. We're out of time. But one of my clients, we did this, and she was able to get to her why being fun. She did a vision board, and it was fun, contribution. There's a couple of other things. They were very general, and they were all things that she could do now when we dug a little bit deeper about what purpose. Because she was that failure that I talked about, her parents. She didn't feel like she ever lived up. She's only 15 pounds overweight. She sounded like a very large girl. And when I found her first day, I said, what did you weigh? What's your weight? And she told me, I said, how tall are you? And I said, you're not very big, are you? And I would have thought she was very big. And that's all what we have inside of us. So who are we going to become? So she can become more of herself. It's not about the weight in the end, because she didn't have that much to lose, but her whole being was a failure. And so it's really kind of cool to dig a little bit deeper. I think I'm done here. Yep, I'm done. So, did anyone have any questions, or did people find that a little bit helpful? We can explore a little bit more going forward, because I'm just learning this myself, these processes. But, one process is I choose to, I want to, and how can we turn it into what we're actually making a choice versus having to, that obligation cycle. And then for what purpose, why do we want to do something? Because it's really interesting. What's my why? And we talked to Susan Gieslin around that. What's my why? People can't understand it. But if we can dig for what purpose, for what purpose. So was that helpful? Cool. All right. Well, we will see you guys next week. Just if you have any more questions around it, I do have a handout, obligation versus intentional creation, and what it feels like when we're in obligation. It's about perfection. It's exhausting. We should do this. It's performance outcome versus intrinsically motivated. We're striving for excellence, being the best we can be versus perfection. And it's energizing, that creative process when and all of y'all spoke tonight on, y'all were energized. Y'all weren't obligated. And, so so thanks for demonstrating what that looks like. Good night, everybody. I'll go ahead and post this also in Team Palace, okay? Good night. Thank you. Congratulations, everybody.